Good afternoon, everyone. Today we have the honor of having Israeli scholar and rabbi Shmuly Tsfasman. Rav Shmuel, what inspired you today to do this interview?
How you doing, Maishi? Number one, just seeing what's going on in the news, and how many false things are coming about Jews around the world, and what's going on in Israel. As much as the government of Israel tries to flatter and support all their citizens, whether it's Jew or non-Jew, doesn't look like the world really cares. Israel goes around saying that they're the only democracy in the Middle East, and the world doesn't really care. And I don't see that many voices out there explaining what's really going on. A lot of pro-Palestinians are making up blood libels like they used to be about the Jews that were killing innocent children. And what really shocked me the most was when I saw that there were Jews that unfortunately are joining Palestinians, pro-Palestinians, and saying that this is their Jewish duty to speak against Israel. And I would like to bring clarity to the issue. And for those Jews that feel that they have to be pro-Palestinian, I hope this video gets to you so we could put some clarity to the issue. And I hope I can affect as many people as I can to get the truth out there.
So what specifically do you want to clarify, and where do you think the biggest misconception there is about the Israeli Palestinian issue?
Well, the first thing what I would like to clarify is, I was watching on a video on a pro-Palestinian protest where there was a Jewish person got up and spoke on the mic that it's a Jewish duty to speak against the apartheid and the occupation in Israel. I want to ask those Jews a question. What was the mistake? Or let's put it this way. If you were in Germany before the Holocaust and Hitler was running for elections, do you think you would vote for Hitler? Now, I'm sure everybody's thinking, of course not, I would never do that. But think a second. Do you know that there was a nice percentage of Jews that voted for Hitler? And this is after he made it clear that he wants to get rid of all the Jews. What do you think their mistake was? What do you think, where did they go wrong? Because if we don't understand where they went wrong, then the same mistake could happen again. Obviously today everybody would say that no, I would never vote for Hitler, but this is after the Holocaust happened. So, from what I see and from what I understand, and seeing the history of Jews throughout generations, Jews have always been chased out of their homes, prosecuted, and Jews always feel that they want the nations of the world to like them. So we put a lot of effort in trying to get the nations of the world to be happy with us. And this becomes a very big problem. Because if you're speaking to a regular non-Jewish person, which is okay with Jews, that's great. But when you turn to an anti-Semite, there's no two ways about it. And what I understand, what I think happened with Jews before the Holocaust and why they voted for Hitler is because they wanted Hitler to feel that, Jews are for you. We like you. And we're voting for you. Could you imagine if we don't vote for Hitler? What's going to happen? He's really going to get us. So we have to vote for him. And I think it's time for Jews to realize that we have to stop trying to please the anti-Semites. We have to stop trying to have favor in their eyes. Because if you're talking to somebody that's an anti-Semite, he might smile to you. But deep down in his heart, he can't wait for the day to get rid of you. And trying to find happiness and favor in their eyes is not going to help. We have to learn to stay away from them.
So what do you suggest Israel do and deal with the current situation?
Well, number one, it's very important for... there's a big problem with Israel. Very big problem. That, you see, us Jews, we are connected to the Torah, whether we like it or not. We are connected to it. We can't run away from it. We can think we can run away from it, but we can't. And the Torah is our essence, is our being. Now, one of the biggest problems with the government of Israel is, especially when they established the state, they established the state against who they are. They established the state not with the Torah, not with God. It was not created as a religious state, and that becomes a very big problem, because as soon as you go against who you are, it's like putting a magnet backwards, which can't click with each other. And Jews that made the state were always looking to make it as not Jewish as possible. So they're trying to please as much non-Jews as they can. Forget about the fact that we just came from the Holocaust. And we have to think about ourselves, about the Jewish people that came from Germany. But no, they were thinking about how could they make it as non-Jewish as possible. And this was a big issue. And once you don't have the pride of being Jewish, you're constantly thinking, how could you please the anti-Semite? And
so back to our question, how do we deal with the current situation?
Well,
what's your plan you propose?
What I think is the first thing that we have to understand, that the only way for our survival is through the Torah. And as it says in the Torah itself, that if you go in the way of the Torah, that God will bring peace upon the land. It's number one. Also, when somebody goes in the way of the Torah gives you Jewish pride. You don't feel like you have to pander, you have to please somebody else, especially somebody else that doesn't like you. You have a lot of Jewish pride in yourself, and you don't feel like you need to get your pride from somebody that doesn't like you. That everybody should look up to you and say, wow, look at that Jew. He's pro-Palestinian. What a genuine person. And really deep down in their heart, they can't wait to demolish you as well. The first ingredient of curing this situation is by having Jewish pride. Because once we have Jewish pride, we will be able to stand up for our brothers and sisters no matter what it takes. And this is extremely, extremely important. Moshe, what's... So
you're saying the solution to the problem is Jewish people have to be proud? And how does that in turn help us the conflict in Israel?
Well, it's very simple. Let's ask a question like this. See, my father was born in Israel, and he was a teenager in the time of the 6-Day War, and he told me that after the 6-Day War, all the Palestinians there, all the Arabs that were in Israel at the time, they were petrified of a Jewish child. They were petrified of a Jewish child. My mother-in-law got a beautiful necklace from a Palestinian there, an Arab Palestinian. They had so much respect for the Jews after the 6-Day War. My father told me he went wherever he wanted. He went to Gaza. He went to Arab villages. Everybody respected the Jewish people. Now, if you look at today, not only they're not scared of a Jewish child, they're not even scared of a Jewish soldier, of an Israeli soldier, of Israeli police. What happened over here? And it goes back to what I was saying before about Jewish pride. At least for 5 years after the 6-Day War, the Jews in Israel had a lot of respect. But as soon as the government of Israel, Jews in the government, felt like we have to please the nations of the world, we have to show them what kind of nice people we are, and find favor in the eyes of the anti-Semites. And they started coming up, we really want to give back the land that we conquered. We didn't mean to fight with you. We just want to make peace with you. And that's where the nations of the world saw weakness in the Jewish people. Saw a lack of Jewish pride in the Jewish people. And when you're weak, people take advantage of you. And that's exactly what happened. They saw how they were weak. All of a sudden, it's not your land, it's occupation. Where did you ever hear in history of people winning a war and then they're called occupation? Nobody even thought of such a thing. You win the war, you won the war. The losers gotta go. That's been the story of history throughout all the years. But what the big mistake, what the Jews did after the 6-Day War, is they showed weakness. They showed that, you know what? No, we're not happy what happened. We're not happy that we won the war. We're not happy that, we conquered all this land. We're not happy to show you that God made a miracle for us. We have to show you that, we're really nice people. We want to give back the land. And that's where we go back to the first point. Once we have Jewish pride, that brings peace because people will respect us. When they see weakness, they take advantage of us.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Tsfasman. Very much appreciated. Great job.
No problem.